back to the Broad Street Sports Podcast featuring Zachary Chavy. And for tonight's late episode, we got special guest Spino on talking about who you should start, who you should sit this week, and then a quick prediction for tonight's Bills-Dolphins game. What's going on?
So, how you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
Pretty good.
So if you just want to... Go ahead, sorry.
For my first starter, I'm gonna go with Zach Charbonnet. Kenny Walker is out, or he's not out officially, but he's injured. And then Rashid Shaheed for the Saints.
Yeah.
He's a star. I think Isaiah Likely had a big game last week. He'll have another big game. I would sit the Green Bay Packers wide receiver to see how Malik Willis does. And for my last start, I think I'll go with Cook tonight because it's going to be a rainy weather. I think he'll have a good game.
And then you got any more people? For me,
Okay.
I think a sit for me should easily be Chris Olave. Even though he's a good receiver, he didn't play well against the Panthers last week, and he's going against Dallas this week, which they completely, even though Derek Carr might be better than like what Deshaun Watson put up last week, they're still not gonna they're gonna be on Olave the entire game. He's barely gonna get any catches, so anyone who has him, I would sit him. A start for me, I would think, it'd probably be obviously Cooper Kupp. With Puka Nacua going out for at least 4 weeks, anyone who has Cooper Kupp, his fantasy stock just went up through the roof because he's just going to put up crazy numbers with Stafford because they have that connection. And then a guy I think could possibly sit, like you said, Likely, I would sit Andrews. Like the way Likely was able to get the ball from Lamar week 1 against the Chiefs defense, which is no joke. Andrews just looked like he isn't himself yet, and I feel like if Likely emerges more as Lamar's guy, Andrews' stock is just gonna plummet, which will definitely be concerning for them. And then I think another start for me this week would probably be George Kittle against the Vikings. Even though he wasn't as balled in the offense last week, I feel like Brock Purdy will be able to get it to him. And the Vikings, they don't have the best linebackers. I mean, Van Ginkel played well for them last week, but you don't see him as much as a cover linebacker. Like his pick 6 he made was on a screen pass. I feel like Kittle could cut up the middle of the field, make big plays for them, so I think he's a start for sure. And then maybe one more sit I would have is probably Drake London against the Eagles, because if Kirk Cousins wasn't able to get him the ball this week, I don't think it's going to be any better this week now. Even though our corners are young, he's going to be on Darius Slay or Quinyon Mitchell all night, and that's going to be the main priority for him. And I feel like Kirk Cousins, you saw it the past couple years with Jefferson. First time we were here, Slade locked him down, and London's no caliber of Jefferson. So I think easily he should be a sit for them because, I mean, with him, like the way they played last week, and I don't think he'll get any better this week, I think he's a sit for them.
It's good.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bijan Robinson should be a sit going against the Eagles defense.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like anyone but for the Falcons, maybe the only start I would consider maybe is Kyle Pitts because our linebacking position is weak. Even though Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean had a good week, I just think we've always had problems with tight ends, and I feel like Kyle Pitts could be the only person to possibly carve us up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are just a couple sits and starts. We're going to talk about tonight's game that's going to be happening in about 20 minutes or so. So what do you see out of tonight's Bills-Dolphins game, the debut of Thursday Night Football?
I think the Bills are going to win. What about you?
I could see the Dolphins winning this game, but I feel like the way Josh Allen played in the second half, it showed that he could easily go and win MVP this year. I feel like Josh Allen, you've seen it the past couple years. These guys who won MVP didn't have much in their arsenal. They just went and carried their team to the playoffs, and that's why they won MVP.
Yeah, I think Coleman's going to have a good game tonight.
You think he emerged? You think tonight's the night he emerges as the receiver 1 for them?
I think so.
Mm-hmm. I think
even though the Dolphins have a good defense, I think he still does it.
Yeah, and I think Kincaid should be a whole lot more involved this week. Not what the stat he put up last week, only like one catch for 11 yards. I feel like he should be way more involved this week. He has to be because he was Josh Allen's guy down the stretch. Him and James Cook, the connection they built with Josh Allen down the stretch is the reason they won the division last year, without a doubt. And then, like you
Yeah.
said, with James Cook, I could see it being very run heavy. And Cook, he is a very good running back. He's very solid. And I think he could carve up this Dolphins defense, like running in and out of tackles, running down the sideline. He's very vertical and very like elusive, so he can make plays down the field.
Last week, I think both tight ends were out there for a majority of the game, which they could limit them because they have two good tight ends.
Yeah, definitely. What are you expecting out of the Dolphins side of the ball for offense?
I think just the normal. They're just gonna feed Hill and Waddle the ball, and with the running back out, that's gonna hurt the running game.
Yeah, and A-Chain just was announced that he is playing, but Jalen Wright got called, like he's called up. He's not enacted this week, so I think he'll be the running back too. Do you think he makes any type of impact or any like big play tonight for them?
He might do a solid. He might be a good two for tonight.
And then like uh for the last part of it, what players could you see being impact players? If you could give me three players that would be impact players tonight.
I'll go with Keon Coleman, Cook, and Waddle.
I got Tyreek Hill. I know it's kind of obvious, but I feel like the Bills, they lost a lot of corners last year or this offseason, and I feel like I think they still have Russell Douglas, but I mean Hill's just gonna find a way to do whatever he wants. I could see a guy like Kincaid, like I said earlier on, and then maybe like a guy like Jalen Wright. If A Chain's not in there and they're gonna have to put Wright in, he could play really well for them.
If a team's not 100%, I think Rick's gonna have a good game.
Yeah, definitely. And then ultimately, what is your score prediction for tonight's game? What could you see the score being?
Um, I'll go 37-23 Bills.
That would be a very good game. I also have the Bills too. I have them winning by the final score of 30-24, by 6 points. I feel like the Dolphins, they're going to get the ball and have a chance to win the game, but Tua is either going to throw a pick or they're going to go for it on a fourth down and not be able to get it. Because like what I saw last week, I could easily see the Bills playing like they did last week. Not great the first half and then waking up in the second half. But I feel like they have to be a little bit more cautious this week because the Dolphins are a much different team than Arizona. Kyler Murray I feel like the story of that game, if Kyler Murray was at least to get Marvin Harrison a couple more catches in the first half, the Cardinals could have easily won that game. You know Tua is going to get the ball to Tyreek and Waddle. So I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think that Bills can start slow, but if they do, then I feel like they can bounce back in the second half, but they need to have a much better, like Josh Allen needs to at least get a touchdown or two in this first half. Like they can't be down. Like I think if they're down any more than 15 points, I don't think they're winning this game. Like I think they just got lucky last week that the Cardinals weren't able to form a great connection on offense and their defense stood in the second half, and then Josh Allen became Superman in the second half and carried them to that win. I just think they need to get back to the basics, get back to the fundamentals that they built in the offseason, and they should win this game.
With the Dolphins running backs, I think that's gonna hurt their offense a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. But, I mean, Keon Coleman could have a big game, but if they can get any production out of any other receiver, like I know they got Valdez Scantling there, they signed Curtis Samuel, they have guys there, but, I mean, Keon Coleman should be the wide receiver one, but, I mean, they still got a guy like Shakir. They got guys who can just be, like, energy plugs and just make a big play right then and there. So, but it will be interesting to see, but you got anything else, last comment you got, or anything else you want to say about
Nah,
fantasy in general?
nah.
All right. Well, this is going to wrap up tonight's late episode. I might be putting like a post up tomorrow about my picks. I just thought I'd come out here, do a little bit different. I'll get back to the picks next week, but just would like to thank Spino for coming on for this quick episode. And other than that,
Thank you for having me.
no problem. Other than that, you guys have a good night. Enjoy tonight's game. It's going to be interesting to see who wins. See you guys.